Hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks with Captain Crazy Hat. Today we are going to be taking a look at the gift tank from Wargaming to us the players. This tank here was given out this year for their birthday or Christmas. I can't remember off the top of my head which one. But it was a gift tank and it's part of a set of tanks that Wargaming have been releasing, which they're all tier 2 tanks, and they all tend to get special matchmaking. What do I mean by special matchmaking? Well, let's take a look at the Americans, and specifically this right here, T7 combat car. Now, a lot of people got this and said it was terrible and threw it away and got rid of it. But this tank actually got buffed later. So I never got rid of mine and it got buffed, and I have the buffed version of it now. So it is much better than it previously had been. But this tank, unless your platoon was somebody else that's in a tank without the same kind of matchmaking, only gets into tier 2 games. So does this. The Light Mark 6C. Ugh, that's a mouthful. That's a real party treat there. So does this guy here, the British one. But it also is equipped with a machine gun, just like the American T7 combat car. And it was a gift tank from Wargaming. And it too gets special matchmaking and only sees tier 2. So this German tank is just the latest in that series of tanks that get that kind of matchmaking. So those are the tanks that we're really going to focus on and compare it against. So what do we have going on here? Well, because they're relatively cheap, and I'm more experienced in the game, and I have tier 8 premiums, which tend to make a lot of silver credits, I've already fitted this tank with improved ventilation because it's only 50,000 credits, which may seem like a lot when you're starting out, but when you get to the point that I am, it's just pennies, really. And a small liner because it's the same price. Now, I could easily throw something like a binocular telescope on it, or a camouflage net, or torsion bars. But honestly, in terms of practical use, and this really goes for all three of these, you all have some kind of variation of a machine gun. And even if you just pull the trigger once, it fires a burst of ammunition at your target. So, you're not really going to be very accurate. You're not very accurate at close range, and you really are going to have a hard time hitting things at long range. This has the easiest time hitting things at long range because it has a 5-shot magazine, and it only ends up firing 2 of those shells. So it ends up only dispersing twice. But that's really only compared to its counterparts. And speaking of which, why don't we pull up the vehicle details of all three of them and look at them side by side, because realistically, they're the tanks to compare each other with. They all get the same matchmaking, and quite often you will see each other if those other people happen to keep their vehicles after they were handed out. But here they are. The three tanks that get that special matchmaking that were special presents from World of Tanks. Now, I've actually seen these on sale. Specifically, it was before this tank was introduced, and it was a bundle that included all of Wargaming's previous gift tanks. So that's why these tanks are worth reviewing, because at some point you may see them for sale in the future. So, what have we got to look at? Well, for starters, the Germans, they definitely have the most hit points. 210 compared to 150 and 150. They are also the heaviest at 11 and 11.5 tons at maximum weight, versus how I have my combat car decked out right now, about 10.5, and 5.5 tons for the British tank. Engine power, it's right in the middle of these two. It's got 144 horsepower compared to 88 for the British and 268 for the combat car. Its top speed is 55, which is not bad. But then again, while it is the second fastest, it's only 1 kilometer per hour. The combat car has 56, and the British, they have 52.5. So the British are the slowest. So really, you're looking at this thing, and it's about average or the same for just about all of the characteristics. All the characteristics, well, apart from the health, because it does have 60 points more health, which when you're fighting with these things is actually quite a lot, because each shell is only doing between 7 and 11 damage here, between 6 and 10 damage, between 8 and 14 damage for standard shells. They don't do a lot of damage per each hit, but they all have machine guns, and the idea is that you're going to fill them full of lead before the other guy has a chance to do much. This thing also has a substantially thicker hull than its two competitors, at 30 millimeters at the front. So the hull is actually very well armored compared to its counterparts in the front. The sides and rear, it is still better armed than its counterparts, but not very well armored in the grand scheme of things. The turret armor is 14 all around, and this is 14 all around except for in the back where it's 11, and this is 12 all around. So they're all about the same, and those couple points here and there really aren't going to make a difference when the standard shell penetration is between 17 and 29, between 20 and 34, and between 20 and 34. These tanks are actually just very similar in a lot of ways, especially in the penetration department. But this gun has less penetration. That is a trade-off for having more hull armor and more health. And unfortunately, that's a trade-off that you have to make if you want more armor and health. The gun just isn't as good. It has a slower rate of fire than both of the other two competitors. Its turret turns faster, which is good because the turret traverse speed of the combat car is abysmal at 24, and it's not very good. Well, it's acceptable at 36 on the light tank Mark 6, but 44 is pretty good. Its view range is actually the best out of the three, and its signal range is right in the middle. So it really looks like this thing, with its long view range, more accurate gun, and other aspects, could be a sniper. But you really have a hard time with it when you're using a machine gun, because every time you pull the trigger, it fires 2 shells. And those 2 shells, yes, they will go somewhere in your aiming circle. Where they go, it's really RNG. You really don't know where those shells are going to land. But if you were to fit a camo net and some binoculars to it, you might be able to make it work. If you're hitting tanks from above and in the back. Because, quite frankly, 23 millimeters of penetration is not really very good. And 46 millimeters of penetration is, with its gold rounds, is really not that good either. So let's get back to Germany. Now, here's the other funny thing, though, is that if we look at this gun from the Panzer IIJ, the legendary tank, and this gun side by side, the stats are very, very similar. This gun fires faster. It actually fires almost twice as fast. It takes an extra second to reload the magazine. They both have the same damage, same penetration, the same dispersion. These guns, for all intensive purposes, are the same, except this one fires at half the rate that its Tier 3 older brother does. But then again, let's be realistic. This thing has a terrible gun, and it's at Tier 3 and it has to fight Tier 4 tanks. This thing having a Tier 1 gun, that isn't so bad. So, why don't we take our little friend Herman the German out here and see what it is he can do. Alright, and we are in game. Now, due to the special matchmaking of it restricting the tank to only seeing at maximum Tier 2 tanks, kind of took a while waiting in queue, and this is the result. About a third of a team, and it just, you have 1/3 of a team, and it's a capture the flag, and it's all Tier 2s. So this should be interesting. And as I said, over here you see a T7 combat car, which is another one of the ones that gets the premium matchmaking. So this is going to be interesting. And we are actually at a disadvantage. Why is that? Well, because they have this. They have the Tetrarch, as well as having two of these T-18 tank destroyers. That is not good. The Tetrarch has a tier 4 gun, a 2-pounder British gun. Alright, so one of the T-18s has been taken care of. I'm lurking around the cap. Also keep in mind that, like its bigger brother, the Panzer II-J, if you're firing gold, you're going to fire a lot of it, and it's going to be expensive, and you're going to lose a lot of money doing this. Alright, well, it looks clear, and I have a T-18 for tank, for support. Alright. Looks like we basically all have some kind of buddy. Following the buddy system. Someone's capping, so I'll load in a magazine of gold. Oh, it's only Panther 1. But he's supported by the Tetrarch. The Tetrarch, you genuinely don't really want to mess with when you're in a purely tier 2 battle. Alright. So I'm hidden from the Tetrarch. Ooh, I'm still getting shot at, which is bad. Hide behind the rock. The rock is my greatest friend and ally. Alright, so because we are winning and we have the initiative, our guys are starting to push around the flank, so I'm really more than comfortable to just sit here and wait. I did use gold on that Panzer 1 because I really needed to pin him and stop the cap. Alright, the Tetrarch is down, but there's a T-26, and I pinned him a little bit. Yeah, I pinned him a couple times, but that's all you can really expect to do with the standard shells. And the other important factor is that it carries far, far fewer of them than the Panzer III-J. Now, it may go through them at half the rate, but it only carries a maximum of 180 shells, whereas the Panzer II-J carries 400 shells. So it's really limiting, and you really need to make your shots count. Alright, so that was a victory, and let's see how I did. Came about midway. Yeah, well, I guess technically about midway up the scoreboard, which is good. And I did 184 damage. Now, I'm sure that cost me money. Oh, wow. I just barely broke even. And I made a slight profit. But keep in mind, the rounds that I fired, and I know I have basically just about half and half ammo here. I fired 20 rounds of this gold ammunition, I think, and basically all the money from me fighting in that battle was sucked up by that. Now, just so there was no bias of any kind, I also put my Panzer II-J crew in here, so the exact same crew, and there's pretty much no way I could really alter the circumstances to disfavor this thing. So, to give it one more game, see if we can find a game with some actual people in it, and then we'll be doing okay. Alright, well, I'll see you on the battlefield. Alright, we're back, and another Tier 2 only match with probably just about the same lineup. Probably the same people. Let's see. Well, there's another T7 combat car. And another Panzer 2D. Now, I actually did some investigating while I was waiting for the match to eventually come up. And to fully load this thing, if you were to just load gold ammo, would be 72,000 credits, and you would always play at a loss. Also, because of its gold rounds, it actually does not get the premium matchmaking of its cousins. So, you're expected to be a normal functioning tier 2 tank. But that's okay, because the worst you can really get into is a tier 3 match. So, that's fine. But notice even here, I'm just struggling to pen this Panzer II. And I'm firing all premium. I couldn't pen him. But he has the option of switching out his gun for one with more pen. So that was the end for me. But the rest of this team seemed to be doing a lot better than me, and well, such are the casualties of war. Somebody has to take the bullet, and I went over the hill first, so naturally that was who got shot at. All right. Oh dear. Another Panzer 2D played quite well in taking advantage of its own abilities. Oh dear. Alright. The RD for shotgunning this TD over here. Poor guy. Never really stood a chance. And really, they have that 2D encircled. The action is going to be over here with this T7 combat car. When he's resetting the cap. And he did successfully reset the cap. Panzer 2D has managed to, unfortunately, off the poor Artie.
The commander is hurt. He can't focus.
Look at that rate of fire. But just nothing from it. And they mutually destroyed each other with a nice hug. I don't want to call it a ram. It's a hug. With fire and brimstone. Ooh dear. So this AT-1 is trying to corner this Panzer 2D and take him out. But I have a feeling he's probably decided to get out of there. And our Panzer II has unfortunately found their H-35. Now, the H-35 is actually very well armored for being a Tier 2 machine. Oh dear. You're going to get hit, please. Oh. So close. Oh. Right between the hull and the barrel of the tank. Come on. Oh no, don't stop. Don't stop. Run. Sucked up by his track. Bounce. Bounce. Oh. That was an excellent performance by oh no, I'm going to start to need glasses. Fall 7777. AT1 has abandoned the hill and he is looking to regroup with the Panzer II. Now, realistically, on a map that's this size with as few people as we were initially, there's not really. Well, there's really. How to put this delicately? There's really a lot of map for not very many tanks. There's a lot of ground to cover, but at least it's in counter mode, so their logical placement is going to be near the flag. The flag is the bait. Ooh, oh. And that was it for the Panzer II. Alright, can the AT1 save him? Yeah, or revenge him? Ooh, come on. No, we don't like that. No, come on. Get him. Oh, no, that's not quite. Well, oh well. Well, you can't win every battle. So, unfortunately, in defeat, we take a steep loss because I just could not get through that Panzer II. So, Panzer II-D. What can I say about it? Well, unfortunately it's kind of like a very watered down version of the Panzer II-J. I mean, it's sort of the same concept, except it's just not fully evolved. I mean, if it had more armor, then fine. But Panzer II-J, no, it can't do 55. It can only do 35, but that's because it has so much armor. And that's sort of what this tank wants to be. This is essentially the Panzer II-J's little brother, the Panzer II-D. They're even from the same family. How cute. But all in all, I really can't recommend it because it's just not really that good. I mean, if they did something again and they had a pack that had all the Tier 2 vehicles in it and you got it anyway because you wanted some of the Tier 2 premiums, then okay, fine. But I would not go out of my way just to try and find this particular tank. I mean, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with it. It has, against Tier 3 opponents, which is the highest that it can possibly face, because it has normal matchmaking, and normal matchmaking for Tier 2 is it can see up to Tier 3. Because it would just be unbalanced otherwise. But that being said, that gun works just fine and obliterates things on its older brother in Tier 3 matches. You dream of Tier 3 matches in this machine so that your gun is relevant. And this thing has to fight in Tier 1, can fight Tier 1s, 2s, and 3s at max. So it's really a hard call. I really do love the Panzer II-J. I love the concept. It just is not implemented well enough. I would have to say this vehicle's a pass. If it comes with a pack of other vehicles, then yeah, sure. It's worth a few laughs, but don't expect to make any money on it. Expect to basically have to use all gold. The reason I have more AP than gold is because it can see much lower tiers than its older brother, the Panzer II-J, which I only have 100 rounds of gold for hunting arty and stuff like that. And I have mostly APCR. So, that is it. That is it for my review of the Panzer II-D. Unfortunately, I can't recommend it, but if it comes in a pack with some other tanks that are more worthwhile, then yeah, sure, it's worth a couple of laughs. Anyway, I have been Captain Crazy Hat, and thank you very much for watching. Go ahead and if you like the video, hit that like, favorite, subscribe, share it with your friends, and if you'd like to support the show further, check me out on Patreon. You get plenty of interesting things there, including seeing my videos a day early. So, until next time, farewell.